This is a 2011 Cobra 29WX NWST sound tracker night watch. Quite a mouthful, but this is kind of the one that I've always had my eye on, and they don't make it anymore. So I found this. It's actually brand new on eBay. I got it 80 bucks. Somebody just had this on a shelf, I guess, and 10 years later, I was able to pick this thing up. So it's cool because, like I said, they don't make it anymore, but it has the weather, NOAA weather channels on here, 7 channels. So it's built in, so it's just kind of cool to have that also for emergencies. Here's kind of some of the features on it. So, yeah, let me unbox it and show you what's inside. Okay, got it opened up. So it comes with the bracket, of course the CB radio, brand new microphone. I already have another one brand new, so that's just gonna be a spare. But it even has the power cable and the hardware and instruction manual. And then, of course, the radio. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Here are a few things that I got. Starting off, this is the antenna mount. This is for the 2001 to 2006, I believe, Silverado and GMC Sierra trucks. It's the hood mount. I'll show you where that goes. Also got a antenna spring. This is heavy duty. Works for 4-foot antennas. This is a 9-foot antenna cable. Power cable, hardwire for the CB with an inline fuse, and then a couple fuse taps. This is like a 10-pack. I didn't have them before, so figured I could use the extra ones in the future. And then I have the Fire Stick 4-foot antenna. I got the black. Hard to get it all in the frame there. But then I also got the Fire Stick, the fire ring. And that is what I will mount to the antenna mount. It's a 9-foot, so I likely won't even need that gray cable, because when I first bought that gray cable, I wasn't thinking it's gonna have to come out of this at a 90-degree angle in order to have clearance for the hood. So I'll show you that. Okay, just a couple things to look at here is, here's the instructions for the Fire Stick fire ring. And this is option 1, cable mount, below mount, and then option 2 is cable above mount. Now I'm gonna go with the below mount, and this is a nice little diagram. It comes in this package, so make sure you don't lose that. And it's a diagram of where everything needs to go, because if it doesn't line up right, you could have contact with your ground and it could short it out. And speaking of ground, on the mount, you'll see there's this little blue connector. Let me get some light. That's gonna be on the inside. So it's gonna go like this. And you're gonna wanna splice on a cable to this and route that down into a ground underneath the hood. And you're gonna wanna do that before you get this all mounted up, because space is gonna be limited. So, same thing goes for the antenna. I got this on Amazon a while back. I believe it's 18 gauge. Oh no, that says 14. 14 gauge, it's just red and black. So here's the black section. It's about, 2.5 feet long. And it's a little thicker gauge, like I said. And then get yourself heat shrink tubing kit and just a crimper kit. These are both from Harbor Freight. They're only like a few bucks a piece. Totally worth it. And then you can do nice crimps like this. There's the ring. So that's what's gonna go right there on the mount. And then on the other side, I've got just the fork terminal, and that'll go on the ground somewhere on the truck. Okay, so as you can see here, I just installed that round terminal to the mount here using the supplied bolt and screw there. So that's that. Now on to the antenna mount here. Okay, so I got the fire ring connector installed according to these instructions here. I did the cable undermount option. So this is what it looks like. So I was wrong. All we needed to do was just install this stud before we install the mount to the truck. You can install the antenna later because you've got threads up here you can work with. Same with the spring here. So we'll do that part later because it'll be hard to line it up with the antenna on and then try to bolt this through. But you'll see that I have these coming out at specific angles. And I can show you once it's on the truck, you have to work around the hood hinge. So I found this angle to work best for my truck. Okay, so as you can see here, I've kind of got it just dry fitted. And underneath here, that hole is gonna line up with that one, right? Just like that. And then this is gonna sit up here like this. And so back there you can see the fire ring. I have it going around that side. See the left side of the hinge or passenger side. And then this ground wire here, I've got that coming around the right side of the hinge. And so you can see right here where it connects in up there. So that's gonna come down. And then I've got these just sitting here for now, but I'll show you what to do with those later. So now we're gonna focus on getting this bolted up here. The mount is sitting here, and I've got just a wood shim in there, just on holding the bottom up. So as I tighten it down, it stays straight up and down, or at least as far as it goes. And so what you'll see is it's going down, and that's the bolt right down there. And this is the mount, all that one piece here. So it comes down and it bolts in right here. And on the back side of this hinge, so this wrench here, this is how I'm tightening it. So on the nut, I've got vice grips. These are needle nose. That's the outer nut. And then the bolt. Then you've got washers, the mount on the inside. The bolt, I've got this 10 mil wrench, and I've just been doing this. It's getting pretty tight now, but you do that, take that off, and you can see the other end of it right there. And I've just been taking this off, and I've just been going down just 1/8 of a turn at a time. And that's about the only way I figured out how to do this. So just be patient with it, and it'll get there. But to line that bolt through that hole, what you want to do is take some string or something, or tape, and tape the bolt, and then pull the tape or string through the hole, then through the mount, and then hold the bolt, take the string off, and then put the other nut on. So that's how I was able to do that. Okay, so here's a look at it without the wrenches in the way. Got the spring and the antenna on here, and I just left this on to show you how I tightened it. I didn't go overboard, but I just wrapped some plastic around it and then did the vice grip here, because there actually aren't a hex on the spring, so it's just, you know, hand tight. But I just tightened it up just a little bit with a wrench, not too tight like I said, but that's how I did that, and wrapped some plastic around it just so it wouldn't scratch it or anything. So here's what it looks like with the 4-foot antenna up there. It's pretty big, pretty obnoxious, but I figured I'd start with 4 foot to get the best signal, and I can always downgrade to a 3 foot or shorter if necessary in the future. So moving on to the inside, you'll see I'm gonna mount it right in here. There's this console pocket. It's almost like it was designed for a CB radio. This space was used as a 6 CD changer in the Escalades, and since this is the same interior really on the truck, it just doesn't have the CD player. They just put the storage pocket, but that's actually the same size as a CB radio, but I will need to trim. It's roughly the same size, so I need to trim off some of the bottom, but the width is perfect, so that's gonna work out well. And what we need to do is just take this piece out. So what we're gonna do is try to pop this black insert out without actually taking the whole other trim pieces off, and then we'll have to unplug the 12-volt sockets there. Okay, it was actually pretty easy. All you have to do is just kind of squeeze and pull, and this will come out here, and it will reveal the 12-volt. So you're gonna unplug both of those. That wire and harness is free, and then this is also free. So we're gonna take this inside and do a little Dremel work on it. But real quick, I'm gonna show you the pocket. So here's what it looks like in there. You can see all these kinds of like cutouts and stuff. But what we're gonna need to do with the Dremel is go in there and trim some space for this thing. Cut the dash or console trim out. I bought these Dremel cutoff wheels. They're small ones, I don't know, a little under an inch in diameter, I'd say. And here's my Dremel 3000. So I'm just gonna load up one of these blades here. It's a 36 pack, so there's no way I'll need all of those, but this is like $7-8 on Amazon. So get yourself a pack of those, and that's how we're gonna start cutting away. Okay, so I got this bezel cut out. You can see I cut the bottom, back, and then I slit the sides so that they can bend out, and that will allow the radio to fit. But next is I've got this external speaker from Amazon, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mount it to the back of this thing right here, and then cut a hole on the inside of that top hole so that it'll be like a secret speaker, and you won't be able to see it. It won't be ugly. I'm gonna have to do a lot of cutting out on the truck side, but we'll deal with that later. And right now, let's finish this. Here's where we're at. So I have the holes drilled for the radio. You can see there's one there, one on the other side. I did a test fit, put it in, marked it, and then drilled the holes. And then I also installed the bracket here for this external speaker. You can see you can just unscrew it from the bracket with those 2 side screws. I drilled the hole and sanded the hole down, and just used some little Harbor Freight M3 bolts from this kit here. Check it out, phase 1 is complete. So we've got the radio installed in the bottom pocket, got the hidden speaker in the top pocket, and let me see here. So this is what it looks like on the side. So drill the hole, bolted it in here, and same on the other side. And then the speaker, you can see on those screws, this is sort of loose, but I did put duct tape underneath here, and there is this factory sticker, so it won't rust this out and rub it off. But the cord I have just hanging back here for now, but that's what we're gonna plug into the external speaker port. And what I did was I had the speaker come out about 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch so that you get a little bit of that chrome showing, and so that you don't have to cut as much out from the back. But also, what I did is the CB radio comes with these rubber gaskets from the factory with these screws. So I put that rubber gasket between the plastic and the radio, and then I used a metal washer, washer for the outside. So rubber washer, excuse me, not gasket. I mean, kind of is a gasket, but so I did that on both sides so that it will space out this plastic thing to keep it a little straighter, and so it doesn't rub against the radio. But I think it turned out pretty good. One thing to note is see I got a little bit of scratches here on this front plate, so tape that up or something. Be smarter than me, or just be careful, because this can scratch pretty easily. This was already here, but these along the front plate, if you put a little oil on it, it hides it. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. I finished with grinding out this center console, and I can show some progress pictures. I won't bore you with a ton of video with it, but this is what it looks like when it's done. Now, a suggestion I have is to put a towel over your instrument cluster, because you're gonna have to take off this bezel. All it does is it just pops off all the way around. It's real easy. But you want to put the towel over it because you don't want dust and shreds of plastic getting stuck in these electronics. So when you're cutting down here, it stays cleaner. But what I did is, you can see it's not the cleanest job because it's limited space. But what I used, I'll show you what I used, but I also used a grinder for this, 4-inch grinder. And this is what allowed me to get enough room to fit both the external speaker and the radio in there. And you can see I had to notch out both the sides so that the bolt holding the speaker to the frame could slide in there. Then I made a cut along the bottom and then the back, and that I just had to leave that plastic piece there because it's screwed in from the back. So that I'm hoping I have enough room for that. But I'm just going to run the cord up through the back there. Okay, so here's how I have the wire situated. It's coming out at an angle and going right underneath this flap here. And you see it's coming right down. And for now, I just have it tucked under this plastic piece with the wiper fluid. And then it's going down under this brace. And then you can see this gray hose here. A while back, I drilled a hole right there where that gray hose is going in. That goes right into the firewall, or through the firewall, into the footwell, right above the accelerator pedal. And I did like 1.25 inch hose, or a hole, so that that hose would fit through there. And I'll just tuck it in and then put it through that protector. Okay, I'm just gonna show you that ground wire real quick where I took it. So I've got it just coming down. There's a spot right here. We can kind of tuck it between the fender and that, this cover, plastic cover kind of piece, and it'll stay right there. It's not too tight, not too loose, so it gives it just the right angle. And then it's just kind of coming down there, then up and over to right here. And that's the ground that's attached to the hood there. So I just unscrewed that a little bit, and then it's a fork terminal. So I didn't have to take it off. I just had to unscrew it and then tighten it up, and that's not going anywhere now. Okay, so I have the cord routed. You can see up right underneath the gas pedal, or accelerator pedal, trying to get it to focus for you, is where the wires are coming out of. And the red wire is for the footwell LEDs that I did, and power for my 12-volt splitters. The that's where it's gonna come out of, and I'm gonna route it up into the console. Okay, so this black wire here is the antenna cable. You can see it's coming out of there. It's going just around that pillar, and then up right there. Got the ground on another one of those fork terminals, and then here's the add a fuse. I put the 5 amp in the top, which is for the auxiliary, and then I just have it spliced here with some heat shrink on top. I forgot, since the add a fuse top adds like 5 inches of wire, I could have cut the red one back 5 inches so they would end at the same point, but I have extra anyways, so it won't be a big deal. So now I'm routing that power cord through, and so you can see I started with the CB end, and I'm going to be plugging it into, I'm going to be plugging the other end, hardwiring it into this interior fuse panel with the add a fuse. But the CB end I put through first, so you open this cover up, and then right down under there you can slide the cord through. So I just have it hanging like that now. So next I need to route that back up and through into the console, just like the antenna cable. Okay, so it looks like the wires are going to be about the perfect length, because I got those terminals there. And then it's routed up all nicely. And just like that, got the antenna and the power cable. And there's the fuse, second fuse. That's a 2 amp fuse. And back there you can kind of see there's like a hook. I just hooked the wire. I'm trying to focus. I just hooked the wire on that tab back here, so it stays up. And now I got both the terminals there, and I also tucked them underneath that black cable so that it comes out at a better angle. Okay, so now I split the red and black wire, and you can see I've got the ground coming out there. I'm leaving the positive here, and I'm gonna ground that ground cable right there to right about there where those other 2 black cables are coming out of. That was for my LED mod, so LED footwells, and I'm gonna ground those to the same bolt right there. Sorry, it's a little shaky. But one thing to be careful of is working around under there. It's really sharp. See, I cut my thumb. So make sure it doesn't cut you or the wires you're routing through. Okay, so the ground wire I actually put, and I put it right through there on my side of that kind of aluminum looking plate. And that's because underneath here, I grounded it right there to the left bolt, because the right bolt already had a couple and I didn't want to have to take those off. And so I just had this ground wire come straight down and ground into that side. There's the focus. And so now for the power, I want to find a fuse that's on ignition power only. And that's because I don't want parasitic drain on the battery when it's parked and not in use. So that means I can't turn it on when the truck is off, which is fine. I need a key to do that. But if I'm in an emergency and I need to use the radio without the key, then all I have to do is go open this fuse box and plug the fuse into a hot power lead. And I'm fine with that, because then this won't create an emergency by draining the battery if it were on a full power. So I'm gonna try hooking it up to, I'm thinking the 10 amp HVAC, because I know that that's only on ignition power. So I'm gonna try that one first and we'll go from there. So you can see in here, that green one underneath the add a fuse is the 30 amp. And I have the wire just going straight back and back to where we have it routed. So let me check to see if we get power on a test fit, and then I will put everything back together. Just got the external speaker plugged in to the external speaker port, and I just tucked those wires kind of back underneath there so it doesn't get caught. Don't want to forget to put the top trim piece back in. Oh, it goes like this. Just like that. So I just test fit, and one thing I had to do was notch out this back piece of this plastic thing because that antenna cable cord was too big, so it has to go back in there like that. So the power cable is fine though. Power cable and antenna cable are hooked in. Now we just need to plug in the 12-volt power sockets on the back, one on each side. 12-volt sockets are plugged in. Now it's time to scoot this thing back in there. Now it's time to install the mic. Alrighty, the install is finished. I'll show you inside in a second here, but I will make videos later on how to tune the CB and how to install the PA system that is integrated with the Cobra 29. So let's check it out. You can see I got everything put back together. And here it is. So, you can turn it on there and see. We've got a bunch of options there. I'll show you what everything does in a later video, but you can hear, flip that to the weather station.
Wednesday, mostly cloudy. Patchy fog. Highs in the upper 30s. Wednesday night, mostly cloudy.
So that works well. And channel selector, you've got the hotkey to channel 9 or 19. I usually keep it at 19. So, yep, there's the sound tracker, noise blanker. So, and then the speaker is right back in there. Let me show you the light. That's what it looks like. You can hardly tell that it's there. You can really hear it well. So, yeah, and I got the bezel piece put back on the dashboard. So that is that. So to cut out that hole, I showed you the Dremel earlier, but use the Dremel to do some of the cutting, but then also just a 4-inch angle grinder. And it's a lot bigger, but a lot more powerful. And you can see I took the handlebar off so that it would fit in there easier. And this is just a grinder wheel. And so it made a mess, but I was able to grind down the plastic in places that I couldn't cut at the right angle and just hold up a vacuum to it at the same time. And that contains most of the shavings.